Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of MBTV News. This is a program where we bring you news about virtual worlds, immersive spaces online, and some of the haptics, interfacing stuff that goes with such things. We're not particularly set in the world of helmets or stuff like that, though we do keep an eye on them, but we're particularly interested in worlds that are easy to use and work on screens as well as in helmets. Okay, to move on a little bit. That is not me on the screen, by the way. I don't think maybe it's Shakespeare. I don't know, but it's got a nice animation.
Looks like it's intended to be Shakespeare, yeah.
Yes, so it's got some lovely expressions. I think that really should be me, even though it isn't.
Okay.
You can look at the avatar with the hat on behind the desk here and realise that it's nowhere near as impressive as that one. Okay. I'm going to quickly switch the screen in that case. Only one picture to show here today, actually, and it's Lamina, which is Neil Stevenson and Tony. I was going to say
Patillo?
Visconti. No, Parasi, sorry,
Oh,
not
okay.
Visconti. Right, and the various people involved. They're having a thing on metaverse identity between May the 8th and the 26th. So basically, it has started, and it's all transactions on their Discord server. So you basically need to go to Lamina One on Discord, like it says at the top there, and that's where they run all these sort of things for the moment. Lamina itself hasn't launched yet, of course, but they're doing, and they cancelled their spring sort of conference, but they're doing all this sort of stuff to sort of fill in the gaps until they get the full conference running, as it were. So just to get that up there, and you've seen it. Right, okay. While the guy's reading the book and smiling at you, I was just covering a few of the other things. One of those other things is that my name is Mal Burns. Did you know that? Well, I reckon if you're a regular viewer, you do. But just on the off chance you're tuning in for the first time, that's who I am. But on the interwebs, I'm squashed. Instead of MAL space BURNS, it's MAL BURNS, no space. Such is the case. Oh, there's a rhyme in that somewhere, isn't there? No space, such is the case. If you follow me on Twitter, yeah, which I recommend still, unfortunately, you go to twitter.com/Malburns, or one word, MALBURNS. And the links I will be covering here there's a lot more links on my Twitter feed than I'm covering on this show, but the highlights I'm covering you can find on that Twitter feed too. And indeed, today's date is the 14th of May, 2023.
1923.
I quickly realised that one. And yeah, see, I don't know whether I'm coming or going, let alone what year it is. And the date, yes, I got that right. So these are the headlines for the week ending, as it were, today, the 14th of May. But of course, most of you watch this show at any old time you fancy. Right, joining me on the studio is James Atlloud, I call him my producer now, actually.
Oh,
He fills with all the knobs, like volumes and
I got a
audio and video.
promotion. Wow.
Yes, you're the producer of this show now, I think.
All right. I'll watch my pay stub.
Uh, yeah, you do that. You do that. May it help you? Yeah. Anyway, getting on with it.
Yep.
This is not the silly season, but you would think it was from the way I'm sort of giggling. It's nervous tension, really, but articulation is fine today at least. I'm breathing. I'm
You're
breathing.
breathing.
Okay, dokie. So that's who we are, and I'm going to start off with as I said, you can follow me on Twitter. Dear me, titter tatter. But I have a lot of the stuff that goes to Twitter now goes via Mastodon. I've been using it for quite a long while for videos during the week, but I'm now adding a few other links in there too. And eventually, although everything will still go to Twitter, I hopefully won't have to go near Twitter to get it to Twitter, if you see what I mean. Yes, cough, cough. Hello, Musketeer.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you fall on your sword, Mr. Musketeer? Yes. Why can't you have? In 4 weeks, you've got a lady starting up as a CEO. She's coming from somewhere, and well, don't really know much. Right. Maybe she'll improve things. You never know. Okay, so at Mastodon, you can find me on many places actually, but my main one is at symbol Metaworld, Metaworld, and then at symbol again, mastodon.social. And we actually have that up on the screen for you at the moment. At least I hope we will have.
Yep.
Looks a bit boring here because there's no insets on it, but it's labeled Malbone's Main, but that's my name locally for it. Okay, so I've got a few articles here actually. Most of them will have gone through to Twitter anyway, so I may cover them in a few minutes anyway. A site called Mixed News here talks about Meta Police and a VR content moderator sharing their highlights. I'm just gonna. Okay. Oh yes, I already have it in the later in the feed, so that's fine. Okay, computerworld.com had an article which again we'll see a bit later on. It's a question. It's a Q&A with Google's Geoffrey Hinton, who reckons that humanity is just a passing phase in the evolution of intelligence, and well, it taps into our field of study, shall we say, or our field of interest is probably more appropriate. Next, oh, this is last week's show, of course. Oh, I do want to mention for those of you who watched last week's show, either live or in replay or later in replay, a couple of glitches. We got censored on air live during last week's show. A couple of clips, one from Gorillas and another from a TED talk, which were actually clips. They were extracts, which in the UK, will be extracts for the purposes of review. But they got a copyright notice on them. No penalty or anything, but they just put up a sort of censored thing during that segment, or at least the second bit of the segment. And when you went to replay it, then at first you saw that poster and then it refused to replay. They said you can't watch it because there's copyright violations. So later in the week, I managed to edit it. So if you do see this online here, instead of being about an hour long, it's only about 30 minutes long because there's the videos are cut out of it. But hopefully that won't happen again. It's sort of happened before, but there was no fuss. They just notified me that there was somebody had made a copyright claim but wasn't doing anything about it. Most of these people that we feature is free publicity, and it's just extracts that we show. So we're not doing them out of business. If anything, we're giving them free publicity. So go figure. Anyway, moving on up, because of course I forget that that's what I have to do in this feed. Okay, another one. This is actually audio. It's the latest Open Metaverse program at Cesium. Cesium.com, Open Metaverse podcast. And this one was looking at video games and AI. Of course, well, you've got to look at AI, haven't you? It's the in thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it in or out this
Definitely
week?
in. Definitely trendy.
Okay, I think it's gone out, but that's in my head.
Oh, okay.
Okay, future storytelling. So they're at it there. So cesium.com, Open Metaverse Podcast, blah, blah. We may see that again shortly. Latest edition of the VR Crewcast. Not actually going to play it for you, but as you can see here, it's a whole load of VR podcasters, basically, including the two guys, Skiva and Alex VR from Mixed Reality, Between Realities, I should say, who are regularly on that program. However, as I move up here, just going to skip. I'm going to skip one for a second. Also this week, Between Realities itself, which is their podcast, was back, and the guest was Blair Reno, anti-cleric, and I interviewed him a couple of years ago for one of our conferences because he was one of the prime movers behind Mozilla Hubs at the time. I think he still is, but he's got his own thing, which is a sort of Hubs type thing called Lo-Fi. In between that, of course, earlier in the week, we had James's favourite show, and it is a jolly good show at that. This week's was talking about full body tracking for the phone, PSVR2, and PC's problems, etc. And I will hand over to James because I can't believe he hasn't got a comment or two on this.
Yeah, I watched it. It not it wasn't the meta show as often, so it was really focusing a lot on PSVR two, and I'm just glad to listen to their commentary. And as you know, I like a program that's conducted in a virtual world, so can't beat that.
Yes, the more the merrier, because so many of these things I post are, actually they are sort of semi-virtual, but like mixed realities, for example, you see the real guys,
Right.
but they're in a virtual studio and they
Yep.
mix the two together. So sort of, I mean, it's a rough and ready solution, but it's a downside better than the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well, and they. Oh, yeah.
Uh,
I'm
wh-
just glad I don't have to comb my hair for this show. That's.
yeah, I didn't even recognize the. I didn't. Yeah, I haven't watched that show for years. I didn't really watch it yesterday, but I didn't barely recognized it. It's not what it used to be, and it used to be pretty awful. It was like it was like a load of live videos, but
Yeah. Yeah.
being mimed, and all pretty awful. Anyway, there's no shortage of
Is it
idiots
ever
and
the same after ABBA?
yeah, well, I mean, that's classic. And
Yeah.
what was the Beatles protege, Mary Hopkin,
Oh yeah.
was Britain's first winners. Anyway, yeah, ABBA, SOS was that's one of the best. It's almost a rock song,
Mm-hmm.
'cause
Mm-hmm.
it's got the dainty piano, but then it rips into the chords halfway through for a couple of bars.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, that's another thing entirely. Now, Neil Trevor here is from oh God, about to say Unity. Um, he's president of the Metaverse Standards Forum, but he himself is also president of the Kronos Group, which are behind an awful lot of standards and stuff. And you'll forgive me, but I got a thing beeping at me, and I'm not going to pay much attention to it. It's set.
Alert!
But
Alert!
yes, alert, alert, alert. The only thing is, I have to press a button to shut it up. Right. I think that worked. It didn't beep, but never mind. Okay, that would do. So anyway, this is a video. It's an interview with Neil Trevett, basically, talking about the Metaverse Standards Forum and uniting global XR industry with the Metaverse Standards Forum. So nice little talk there. Just double check. So this is one you can watch fairly easily.
And
Yeah,
we
there's
discovered
no
along
Neil.
with everyone else that there was
Oh, God.
What?
Wrong thing.
Oh, okay.
Oops, oopsie daisy. Right, okay. I'm going to start at the top again, look down. This is the latest one I put up 6 hours ago or something. It was just sent to me. It's called Designing the Ultimate Metaverse Economy. And it's with somebody called Rob Carroll at YouTube. Again, it's an interview thing, and it's principally involved with economies. I know this chap from the OMI groups anyway, and I guess that's why he sent it to me. So quite an interesting one there. Again, when we get to Twitter, you'll find the links to all these are in Twitter too, but it's just easier for me to go through them here. Charlie Fink's regular weekly podcast, where he's joined by Ronnie Abovitz and Ted Schilowitz. And I think they end in wits. Oh no, one's a wits and one's a wits. But Charlie's just never mind. Right, featuring Just van Drienemer, must be. He's a New York University professor. Funny name for New York. Game industry expert and author of One Up. So if you remember last week's show, they said this week the guest is no guest.
Right.
But this week they've got a guest back again. So all very well and good, just a roundup of the week and more conversation than you get in his written roundups, which are basically just key links to things going on. Okay, back Rory Greener. This is Jake Steinerman, who's head of the community at a platform called Spatial. And again, this is an interview talking about the metaverse for content creators. Something that was interesting that was in the news earlier in the week is that four-letter word company have apparently discontinued a hub or something for content creators on their helmet. Um, you can find out about that elsewhere. Just look for the four-letter word. Blair, I know I gave you, didn't I? Was the one here? Oh no, we covered them all. I don't know why I thought there were more. It felt like there were a lot this week, but that was it. Okay, so moving up, it's easier to do it from here rather than anywhere else, I think, actually. I have one post this week from our friends at Voices of VR, and it's just this one on the left here. Re-educated, re-educated is the way it's a hyphen there, I think, but never mind. It's a breakdown of the award-winning re-educated VR doc and translation into interactive component of New Yorker article on Chinese prison camps. Serious stuff. So they're talking about it basically, and I suppose it's a sort of review plug for that too. That's the only one we've had since May the 4th, so I'm expecting this week or the next there'll be another burst of 100 or so, all put up at once. Anyway, that's good there. I'm going to click up further up the thing here. This we don't need, but this came up a minute ago by mistake. You can. This is how it appeared on Twitter, in fact, so you can actually play it audio-wise from Twitter as well if you find that one there. So remove out that one, and I'm going to sort of head down the list here. Basically, there aren't that many things this week to play with, so we'll be fairly short, I think. But interesting questions. Mr. Metaverse, I know him as Jesse Alton, who's again he's part of OMI. His is this Medium or so? Yeah, Substack. This is he has his post there. Will Apple's Metaverse be even better, or better? It's still the gossip mill, but we are getting very, very close to the need for us to stop beeping me. Always happens when I go in here. Right, yeah. That's not good news. Not good news. Right, this time I think I've shut it up. Bit of extra work there, clicking. Right, there's a lot more information coming out about suggesting what's happening with the Apple helmet, headset, whatever. Bigger than goggles, but smaller than headsets, I think is the answer. But we don't know anything for sure, except Tim Cook will be announcing it all in about 5 or 6 weeks' time when they have the Apple Developer Conference. It's pretty certain the thing is going to be costing about £3,000, dollars, sorry, which makes it very expensive, but apparently it seemingly knocks the socks off the competition. And it obviously, as you expect with Apple, it's got its own way of doing things, like the battery you wear on your belt and stuff to make the actual experience fairly lightweight, and it's got all the outside, inside, outside trackings and all that sort of stuff apparently. But we will know for sure in the not too distant future, and I'll leave it at that. But as I say, this is Jesse Alton, and whimsical illustrations here. That is not from Apple. If it was, I would say, what the hell's happened to Apple? But anyway, he says this is clickbait basically, and this he's a long chat about everything, including clickbait. If you didn't read the top, basically it said fear and loathing in the clickbait metaverse. So yeah, this is crap clickbait titles. So clickbait is the issue he's really discussing. So the Apple thing is really just to get you interested and prove the point. Okay, moving on down. Big XR news from 4-letter word plus Google, Unity, T-Mobile, and KPMG, which is 4 letters, but it's not a word. So I'll give them credit for that. Right. Quite a lot of stuff there, actually. You'll find this at xrtoday.com, xrtoday.com. And again, it's another roundup, much like we do here. but with their own pitch on things. They cover things we don't, etc., and vice versa. Um, they're looking at Google, T-Mobile contributions to the XR landscape generally overall there, and Metaverse to contribute 2.8% to global GDP in 10 years, says the four-letter word people. Well, don't really care what the hell they say. They probably won't be around that long anymore. Um, Google released geospatial stuff, connects with Unity. Well, all the stuff anyway. xrtoday.com. I forgot to mention the last thing about clickbait actually is Mr. Metaverse, MRMETAVERSE dot Substack, that's SUBSTACK.com, is where you need to go to read that one. So I'll get rid of this one too. Moving down the week, this week in XR. This is the one from Forbes.com. This is the written roundup from Charlie Fink, completely separate from the video show we mentioned a few minutes ago. His highlights are Niantic releasing Peridot mobile AR game, and Google is growing its visual search. And of course, Google are messing around with the AIs too, aren't they? Following Microsoft Bing doing the same thing. Bold and responsible AI. I think that's the Microsoft. No, this is probably Google. Sorry. Oh, it's Google I/O this week. I've forgotten that. Okay. They interesting. They seem to be replacing the Google Hub, which I quite like, with a Google Pixel. It's called, which basically is a working tablet, which when you put it on the stand becomes a hub, if you see what I mean. But it's extra money for something that, the hub is a very simple instrument. It does some things and it does them reasonably well. With a bit, it's slow. I can ask it questions, etc. It's a bit like the Amazon gadgets where you can talk to them and get them to do smart things for you. I prefer. I've got used to those as separate things. The last thing I want is a proper. I don't want to have to put an iPad on the stand and talk to it to do the same thing. I'm quite happy to have a little cheaper thing that does one job and one job only kind of thing. But well, we'll see how they get on. They've got a folding phone called Pixel Fold, and a new Pixel phone, and the Pixel tablet I just mentioned, of course, which I was actually looking at while I was talking. Yeah, so that was. It's almost like a rock concert. It's just somebody from Google telling you what they're doing. Come on. Oh, yeah, I think I'll go to prefer a rock concert any day, please, if I'm going to go to a crowd like that. Right. And anyway, I'm not going to go through absolutely everything here, but you'll find this from Charlie Fink at Forbes.com, Forbes.com. If you go there, you might have to hunt for it. So I do recommend following the Twitter feed I gave you earlier, twitter.com/malburns, all one word. If you click on the links from my Twitter feed, they will take you to the actual page you need as opposed to the homepage of the websites. Okay. We're moving down the week here, in fact, so we're actually coming rapidly to one place we normally start at. And it's nothing, it's the XR Wheat Pea. And it's written by Tony Vitillo, but he knows himself as Scarred Ghost, everyone. Yeah, the Scarred Ghost. SKARREDGHOST.com is the website. And his peak includes Quest Gaming Showcase to come up on June the 1st, the Zapper shows Zapbox, cheap AR headset, and more, and more. That's a good way your headlines always have to say and more, don't they? More, right? So there's a 4-letter word Quest underway. Better forget about that one. Top News of the Week, that's a 4-letter word too, darn it. I did once upon a time they didn't allow 4-letter words. What's happening? In print, but this is the web, I suppose. So there you go. Now, Apple's WWDC, that's the thing. That's where they think the Apple reality headset will be announced. And that's on June the 5th, which actually, come thinking, that's only 3 weeks away. Mm-hmm. So that promised to be interesting. Actually, if we're in real luck, There'll be enough. Apparently, Apple have already said that the product will be delayed slightly because of from the original date because of getting parts and getting everything put together and shipped. But
Ye
there will
old
be some.
supply chain, right?
Yeah, yeah. But there will be some stuff, so you will be able to order it after June the 5th. Now, with a bit of luck, give it a few months and then we won't ever hear a faultless word again. That's the way it should be. Okay, Apple, you see, is a five-letter word, so we're happy with that. Right, other relevant news. What we got? Zappa showcasing this cheap Zapbox headset. Uh, can't, well, yeah, it does look a bit cheap, and I mean that aesthetically. I don't know about the price. It's basically a plastic version of cardboard for augmented reality. Oh dear. Well, I remember cardboard.
Yep.
It not only made every mobile phone you put into cardboard overheat, but the overheating actually was capable of setting fire to the cardboard, which is, not the least flammable thing. They did tell you to not hoard paper in case you have a fire. Well, don't hoard cardboard either. Right. Horizon World adds sharing of photos to Instagram, whatever that was about. Their own free Varun thing he's involved with. Um, PSVR again. News worth a mention. Well, it's gaming that. Um, yeah. Do, do, do. Okay, I'm not going to go right down the whole thing. This is a good place to get a roundup near the beginning of the week. I mean, this is a bit late this week because it's halfway down the list, I think. But SKARREDGHOST.com. Monday is the day it's meant to come up. It's usually up by Tuesday at the latest. Very, very occasionally he gets delayed on something else and puts it a bit later. But first thing in the week I end up reading, and I'm reading another roundup as opposed to starting my own. Right. Yeah, we did that one. We've done this one. Right. Spatial Beats, Apple AI Insider. Oh, okay. This is another Charlie Fink column. Different place. This is arinsider.co, ARINSIDER.co. Which is com without an M, in case you were wondering. And this is called Spatial Beats and is looking at Snap, Apple, and AI, the usual stuff, basically. There's a bit of overlap between this column and, of course, the Forbes one, but they are slightly different, so it's worth reading both of them. So arinsider.co on that one. Right. Oh, yeah. And this is one I mentioned earlier because it's one of the regular text articles that I actually sent via Mastodon instead of straight to Twitter. It's called the Metaverse Police. It's a VR content moderator sharing his insights and sharing insights into his work in virtual reality and the challenges he faces on a daily basis. He is content moderator for social VR experiences like, and they quote Horizon Worlds, but that doesn't mean he's part of Horizon Worlds, which is part of the four-letter word corporation. So be careful, be very careful. So he has a newsletter called The Technocrats, and his name is Yekanti. He oversees virtual worlds from a variety of vendors for an outside company, and his job, it's not a day goes by that he doesn't encounter bad behavior. Oh, well, what do you expect? Four-letter words. If the company's known by a four-letter word, what do you expect from its developers and employees? Bad behavior, maybe? Of course. Okay, so he looks at moderation. Sorry, I'm. In case any of you taking me seriously, don't. But this is important news anyway. It's an interesting mixednews.com is the site we're on. MIXED hyphen NEWS.com. And yeah, it's quite a little interesting interview where he's talking about stuff there. Right, mixednews.com. I think there's something. Okay, I'm in reader view here. I think the website actually it may have video on it. I'm not quite sure, so we'll see. I can't see it there anyway. Right, moving on to computerworld.com. This one again I mentioned a few minutes ago because it was in the Mastodon feed too. Google's Geoffrey Hinton saying humanity is just a passing phase in the evolution of intelligence. I love articles like this. So there's humanity, and that's the evolved intelligence. And as you can see, we are disintegrating in favor of evolved intelligence or something like that. Another sort of thing I like reading. Don't necessarily want to believe it sometimes. There's some of the far-fetched stuff people talk about, but who really knows? Just following on from these things. There's something I was reading about in the week, and it's got the ecology people, the green people, all excited. To do with carbon capture and putting water into places where, oh yeah, they want to use water in the atmosphere to suck up the excess carbon dioxide we're producing. And well, I'm not. I haven't got the notes handy, but it sounds awfully dodgy to me. It could be one of these things that is a wonderful idea, or it could be one of these things that's a bright idea that then suddenly realise it's causing a different kind of pollution. But anyway, I am prone to rambling, aren't I? Okay. Google's Geoffrey Hinton. Yeah, all you can do is read these sort of things. I'm just pointing it out as a link that I think would be worthy of reading. You'll find the article itself. Obviously, the direct link is on my Twitter feed, but it's at computerworld.com. So computerworld.com. And I think if you actually went to Computer World, you would actually find this Q&A session on there. An easy link from the front page. It's very recent at the moment. Now, this is a good one. This is a good one, right? We talk about moving our avatars and things like that in virtual reality with a helmet on, not a virtual reality helmet per se, but a thing with nozzles that means we can control everything with our mind. We don't need our hands anymore, or our fingers, or our mouth. We just mind. We do it with our minds, right? But it's all very exciting and we can't wait, but we've been beaten to it. We've been beaten to it by rats. Would you believe? New Scientist reports that rats... oh, rats! Oh, it's cute, actually. They've learned to move objects in virtual reality using only their thoughts. So they read the rat's intentions from its brain patterns, and then they, guess what? They make an AI to read the intentions of the brain patterns, and then it helps the rodent move objects in virtual environment. Now, listen to what they said, right? It doesn't mean they can wander around in a virtual environment using their thoughts, so presumably they can. They can move objects. So you put the rat into a suitably sized helmet and send it into a rat world, virtual rat world, of course, and it comes across an obstacle and it will move the obstacle so that it can get past. Now, unless you know how to build in somewhere like Second Life or OpenSim, and certainly a lot of these mesh worlds, you just can't do anything. Everything in front of you is static. It's not easy to come across a fence that you can't get over. And it could be phantom in the virtual world, but that's another thing. And it's not easy to just touch it and move it. But apparently rats can do this, which sort of the implications are rather greater here than just, mind control. The thing. And also the size of a rat's brain. I mean, if it can do it, think of what a human brain can control. Anyway. Oh yes, I haven't got the whole thing here. That's why. This is at newscientist.com. I think if you try and get it on the web, they let you read so many articles for the week before you have to do the thingy. Let's just see if no, they do. It's got the same cutoff even on that view. Okay, so unclear whether this activity in the hippocampus can be consciously controlled by imagining ... Okay, I think it's fascinating. Go to newscientist.com and see if you can find the whole thing if you're interested in that kind of thing. I kind of am really. Right, put that one away. Put this one away. And put this one away. Where are we? One final web link here. This is from a site called Retail Times, RETAILTIMES, and it's retailtimes.co.uk. And KPMG, they're a research company in the UK here. They've actually done research that indicates almost half of UK consumers, right? Consumers, that's punters to you and me, think the metaverse will become widely used in the next 10 years, the new survey finds. Well, this is rather odd because I keep reading surveys saying that the average person is not remotely interested in the metaverse, and many of whom aren't even sure what it is. Whereas here, we've got 47% of the population thinking the metaverse will become widely used in the next 10 years. Where do they get these statistics from? I mean, statistics is statistics. You can read them any old which way. There's... I remember one of the first things that occurred to me with the virtual world was when we could take, not a pie chart, what's the other one called? The columns.
Bar chart.
Bar chart, that's it, yeah. We were able to take a bar chart that would normally interpret statistics, for example, on a page or on a screen. But in 3D, you've got another dimension, the third dimension. So you're able to show a third element of information. And in a bar chart, you could show one corporation, for example, being top of the chart because they have sold more units and at a cheaper price or whatever than anybody else, and therefore they seem to be in the lead. But when you tilt the chart around and get more information, you realize that the one that's topping the charts is actually selling a very cheap product, a not particularly endurable product, but they also got volume of sales. So they've reached the top simply by swamping the market with a cheap product. But by looking at the other dimensions, you can see the competing product, which doesn't seem to be being so successful, is actually far more successful because it's got constant static volume sales at a higher price than the cheap product. So you get more information if you see in the bar chart when you actually look at the whole tower. And the other thing it represents. So statistics are a funny thing like that. You can, let's say you want to add color to a picture. You want to add a 20% blue tint. Yeah. Well, here, if you know Photoshop, you know that you can choose whether that tint is relative or absolute. Absolute is like putting a 20% transparent piece of blue glass over the whole picture. Everything gets tinted. Relative means that the 20% is added as a percentage of what's already there. So where there's none, there's no percent added. Where there's lots, there's a lot of percent added and all the shades in between. The effect then is more like a blue duotone. It's totally different. But if somebody comes up to you and says, you just need to add 20% blue, and if they don't specify which, they're not really telling you much that's helpful, because you can interpret it two ways. So it's 20% blue as a figure can be reported in two different ways, and very, very misleading when you some statistics. Okay, I'm rabbiting again. Retailtimes.co, quite interesting speculation is considered. We hear exactly the same thing, opposite sort of news from other places. So that's at retailtimes.co.uk. And that's the last web link I've got for you this week. I did mention earlier that we had a little bit of problem with some video clips we'd like to show here last week, but that was last week. This is this week. And got a couple of things here. They're not particularly long. In fact, I don't know why it's not even telling me the time on this. Painting in VR gets a spring refresh, right? You've got 48 seconds of VR. Well, there you are. Blatant publicity there for obviously legless helmet wearers. And you can go check out paintingvr.xyz if you really want as well. If anybody gets back to me and lays a copyright claim on that advert, I shall not be impressed at all. And the same with this. One of my favorite quick and easy to use places to go on the web for virtual meetings and stuff, or conferences anyway, is a platform called Vibella. They've done a lot of updates recently, and certainly the quality of their avatars, which has always been quite good, but they tend to sort of fade into proxies over a distance if there's a lot of people attending a lecture or something. But they've improved a lot of things. It's beginning to feel more like a proper virtual world, just rather than the quick and easy meeting place that it actually is. It really is. So,
welcome to Virbela, where you can be remote yet connected. Virbela builds virtual worlds and campuses, complete with offices, auditoriums, meeting rooms, classrooms, event spaces, even a soccer field. We enable you to bring together groups of any size from anywhere in the world in a virtual environment to work, learn, engage, and socialize. Now let's get started. Downloading Virbela. To download the Virbela Open Campus application, head to virbela.com/download, then select Mac or PC and follow the instructions. If you were invited to a specific campus or event, be sure to check your email invite for a different download link. Once you've installed your Virbela world, double-click the icon to launch. You'll then be prompted to log in or register using an email and unique password. Setting up your avatar. The first time you enter a Virbela world, you'll find yourself in the dressing room closet. First, select a starter avatar to begin with. Then, click through the different customization sections using the icons at the top. Virbela's new avatar system offers a wide range of skin tones and body shapes, with new outfits, hairstyles, and accessories to showcase diversity and personality. Your avatar can be as individual and unique as you are. This jacket really completes my look. To see different perspectives, use your arrow keys or WASD keys to turn your avatar back and forth, or click on your avatar and drag side to side. Need a closer look? Click on the zoom icon in the lower right. Once you're ready, click the Finish button to save your changes and enter the Virbela world. Basic controls. When you arrive in a Virbela campus, you'll first appear in the welcome area. To walk around, use your arrow keys or WASD keys, or click your mouse when you see the movement icon. Ready to run? Just hold the Shift key while navigating. Have something to say? Turn on your microphone by clicking the mic button in the lower left.
Hey there.
To mute yourself, just click again. Notice the spatial audio, which is very similar to being in person. Sounds come from different directions based on their location, and if someone moves too far away from you, you won't be able to hear them. Use the text chat feature in the lower left to send messages and emojis either publicly or via direct message, or to a group of users in a private volume. In some areas, you'll see blue lines or circles on the ground. This indicates a private volume area, which means only the people within that space can hear each other. In the upper right corner, you'll see the gears icon for the settings menu, which contains a list of actions and options. This is a great place to check your audio settings. and dial in your preferences, where you can adjust your graphics quality, font scale, and more. In the upper left corner, you'll notice a blue Go-To menu. Click this menu to see the campus locations you can teleport to. Of course, you can also choose the scenic route and walk to your destination instead. Click on the map icon in the upper right to access it. Hold your cursor over the arrow at the top to scroll up, and over the bottom arrow to scroll back down. To teleport to a location, click on its name or location on the map, or scroll through the list of destinations on the right to select the location. Click on the World Map tab at the top to view and teleport to offshore locations, which are smaller islands nearby. Want to travel in true immersive style? Take the subway. Click on any of the numbered stations on the map to teleport there, then walk up to street level and continue your journey. Now that you've gotten started with Verbella, imagine how a virtual world like this can transform your next meeting, event, class, or gathering. We created Verbella to empower your organization and its people to be connected and seize every opportunity. Ready to work? Ready to learn? Ready to connect? Be ready for virtually anything with Verbella.
Well, I can't tell you from using that myself, but it's very easy to log in and stuff. I've been to quite a few talks and things that are held there, either in the auditorium or the theatre. There's nothing much you can do user creative wise. You know, you can't put things down or build your own. In fact, I'm not even sure. I'm pretty sure there is a free, you know, you can get yourself a free world of your own to invite people into. And most of the invites have a special link. It's sort of it it initiates Verbella, but it initiates an opening scene that is different from the default one if you just launch the program on its own, so to speak. But I when it comes to the simple stuff, I've always liked that one a lot. And I did think actually that, in fact, it may still be there. I think there is a version of Verbella that they actually can render on the web as opposed to having to download the client. Because it is very lightweight, but I won't swear to that because times change and they may have certainly the avatars are a lot better there. They've obviously they improve over four-letter word companies because they've got legs for one thing, and you know, nicer costumes, nicer sense of personalization and stuff like that. So good stuff I thought. So where are we there? Oh yeah, I mentioned this earlier. Lamina One's community identity project is on Discord on Lamina One's channel, and it's going from the 8th of May, which is already passed, of course, but right through to the 26th. So 6th of May, that's about 10 days more. So check out Lamina One, LMNINA One on Discord. If you want. And I think that's it. So James, any thoughts on the shenanigans of today, so to speak?
Nothing super particular other than relating that I'm part of a group with some educators and librarians called the VR Exploders, and we try a number of VR worlds. But the discussion the other day turned to the idea of, do you remember when Google search and, you know, Bing search and all the search engines came up, and people had the idea of having like Google foo? People were better at writing search terms than other people, and it was a skill to be developed. And with AI, I was saying it seems like writing prompts for AI is a skill. Some people are skilled at it, other people are not quite as skilled at it. And a couple of the teachers related to me, there is a role now called prompt engineer, and a person who is good at writing prompts to get AI to produce what you want it to produce. So
Lots of
got a career field for you out there, kids, you know.
A lot of developers have mentioned that you know, you can't get the thing to write code for you as such, but if you give it the right prompts, it can come up with something that makes the editing job of compiling the real code a lot easier.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of scripters in OpenSim use ChatGPT to help them write code snippets. It's very fast and very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an enhancement to what you do already, and it sounds pretty good. I do worry about it being used, as you say, for people who don't really know necessarily how to prompt it, but sort of provide a nice picture to promote my right-wing politician
Right.
friend.
There
You
you
know,
go. Yeah.
uh, not much prompt involved there, but you could end up with images that are misleading or something like that,
Yep.
and you can always feed some false information into the mix of real information that it bases to do its stuff. But that's for another day, I think. Okay, well, we have another program coming up in half an hour, so we've actually made it to the half hour,
Yay.
surprisingly. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker today, but it wasn't. So I think we can say goodbye to everybody until next week. You can replay this on YouTube anytime. Just the account you want is Malburn's Metaverse, although Malburn's will get you there too. And up there for eternity. So, you can wait 100 years to watch this program if you really want, but I can't guarantee the news will be exactly current. We do interview shows which will last forever, but news, well, it's a fleeting thing, is news. Okay, so thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to James for producing.
Yep.
Thank
And
you
thank
for
you,
me.
Mel, for bringing us together. Yep.
Indeed, me for presenting. And be back next week. For now, stay healthy, stay online, stay in world, whatever. And we're out of here. It's a wrap. Bye for now.